Okay, so conscious thinking is conscious living, and these days in society we are bombarded with so much variety and everything from, what to buy, what to wear, what do we eat, where do we go, who do we hang out with, what to say. All these things play a massive role in the psychology of our mind and are going to affect us short term and definitely long term. The way we tend to look at foods and how that's going to play a huge role into everything bad that we have and everything good, and as long as you've got the balance of both in, so good and bad, your body then is going to easily be able to wean out the bad. As long as you are mentally strong and prepared to do it, you can do it, but you have to have all the good stuff in place. So lots of variety in fats, different types of proteins, all variety in veggies, salad, fruits, and fibers of some thing, because your body does not need all this false advertising, milk and cheeses and yogurts and all dairy stuff and chocolate and chips. I mean, literally, you need to start thinking everything that is comes off a tree, out of the ground, and that walks on the earth, you can eat. And it's that simple, and that's what we stick to. That's how we are designed. People keep thinking that we need to, from what we hear, I better eat this and I better drink that. Anything that is processed is not good for you. I mean, even things like oats, people have oats and they think they're the world's best thing. You look at the reviews and the written stuff and the studies behind it. I mean, oats are massively inflammatory, so they'll bloat you, they'll give you digestion problems, malabsorption of nutrients. The list goes on. So, and because they have a lot of the gluten and wheat in them, and a lot of people are allergic to that, that's the big killer. So, and if milk, too much milk, the lactose in it, you can have a high reaction to that. You can actually go and get your blood tested with that, where you sit, they do a couple of tests for about every half an hour and take your blood and see what's happening, and get you to drink a solution, so that way how sensitive you are. You might actually be mildly sensitive, you might have a really big strong sensitivity to it. And everyone on this earth, I believe, from all the research I've done and looked at and people have spoken to, that, and even doctors, they say that, everyone is really on some level allergic to, dairy, gluten and wheat. It's the protein enzyme that is in foods that we are allergic to. So it's something like, maybe a fruit or a veggie that doesn't have it, you can't be allergic to it. You might have a little bit of an intolerance to that on another level, that your body just doesn't really, it's not maybe fitted to your blood type. So because blood type does have a correlation to something along the lines with how your body's designed to live with food, because we are food. So doing this right and getting it in the right contents is what I'm trying to get across to everyone. But still a lot of people seem to be getting it wrong. But the interesting thing is more that so many people are still addicted to the bad stuff. I mean, if you look at stimulants, this world is so bombarded with having stimulants flat out. So anything from, your V's and your Red Bulls, your coffees, things like this to get you your highs, that's just actually going to give you a low. It's actually going to destroy your insulin a lot quicker, meaning everything else that you eat is actually going to store as fat. You're not going to burn it up. And even when you then go to do lots of energy workouts, you're actually probably going to need to put more foods in, because your insulin's depleted. You're not going to have any energy. Your body's going to get all run down and worn out from all that food. Your body's going to use more energy to digest and flush it out. It's incredible how much energy your body uses to digest and transport food around and then flush it back out. It's huge. And if you're not supporting detox on any level for any parts, things like chickweed, which are extremely good for the intestinal tract, keeping that healthy. Things like gut relief for the intestinal tract as well. Your probiotics, things like that. Your ginger, your garlic, echinacea, olive leaf extract, western larch tree, vitamin C, magnesium. So many things to support so many functions. You need to support when you start draining your energy systems on any level. So whether it's looking at, you're surrounded by lights and TVs and computer screens, and you're looking at that all the time, your body is using more adrenaline to keep you focused and concentrated. Without adrenaline and thyroid, you'd cease to exist. You've got to remember that your adrenal glands, your thyroid, and your pancreas actually work together. And what does your pancreas produce? Insulin. They all communicate and work together as an energy system source to fuel in the body, digesting it, giving it energy, fueling the adrenal glands and all that to give you stimulants through the thyroid and the pancreas to help with insulin coming out and transporting it around the body. But if these things are overtaxed or worn out, nothing's going to work. The body's just going to bloat and inflame and put everything on. You're going to feel worse. Cravings are going to go up on lots of levels. I always say to people, if you can, first thing you put in is fat. First and foremost, you put that in, it decreases cravings, it decreases inflammation, it helps with nutrient uptake, flushing the body, helping with hydration. Your body is just one big pool on a biochemical level of basically cells that need variety in all living things, depending on your type of body and where you've hailed from, the blood type, to survive. The other thing is to do with the psychological part with the mind, and this world we live in is just, we are so bombarded with everything. The way we're meant to look, eat, talk and all this other crap, we've got Facebook, we've got all these things that are plastered at us all the time, that we are forgetting to be in touch with ourselves on any level. And then you'll always have these thoughts or things that will come up in the back of your mind or whatever it is, and you'll never work it out or resolve it on any level. And then eventually you'll get to a certain stage and you will have lost yourself so much, and things you will have wanted to do or gone or seen or said or whatnot have left on and stayed on the back end. The true test is like someone that goes through a hard relationship and has the will to actually be able to leave. Because in the end, no one actually wants to be alone. Things like this. So if you can handle being alone, I believe from a spiritual point of view and from this world that we live in, that there needs to be a lot more, almost meditation needs to be a must through school and things like this. You need to almost go, because all you do through your life is you go through school, you go, then from there maybe you go to TAFE, to uni, things like this, or straight into the workforce, and you've never had a time to stop for enough time and do nothing to totally get in touch with yourself, who you are, and actually really think about it, what you want, what you need, what your desires are, who you are as a person, what makes you tick on so many levels. But also coming back to any type of light, TVs, computers, phones, the stimulants, and looking at that so much wears out your adrenal glands. The last thing your body needs is more stimulants on top of that. If you're looking at adrenal fatigue or failure, cortisol rising, adrenal glands, cortisol's linked to that, so that'll go up, you'll get, and you'll get more anxiety, more tightness of chest, fogginess of the brain, things like this, and less energy. The body's ability to, actually when you have gluten, wheat and dairy, it actually prevents things from actually being absorbed in the body. Really does. Things can start to shut down, things can get actually infected. You can actually uptake the wrong type of protein with another protein out of whatever food it is and actually have a really bad chemical reaction. So things to be aware of when cross-reacting things that you're allergic to. This can bring on a lot of illnesses, genetic diseases, things like this. So you really need to be careful of what you're putting in. And go and get these tests done. People that I work with, some of the experts, they love going and getting tests, and I tell them what to expect and how it's going to be done and what's going to happen. And they come back to me and I go through all my stuff and I give them the best, safest, easiest, most affordable solution. And they get results fast. They stick at it. But these are the really, really committed people. Some people will say, it's too hard, I can't be bothered. That's their decision. It's anyone's decision. But in the end, what's more important, is it you trying to get through life easy and just passing by, or is it just you want to be more functional and you want to be able to move and feel energetic? Because in the end, and I've said this to a few personal trainers I've spoken to, I try to get across to them, it's simple thinking and simple living. So conscious thinking, conscious living. You break it and break it down and you keep going. People just want to be healthy and happy no matter where they are, no matter what they're doing. It's until you start to get controlled by dictated by your surroundings, what literally in your mind, and your hormones that drive you. If you're going to let your hormones drive and dictate your actions, and you don't stop and rationalize and think about it, then you're up for a world of disaster. You've got things like when women actually getting closer to orgasm, their brains shut down. Men, it's the opposite. Men's brain goes higher and higher. Whether it's to do with evolution, where the man was always on alert, and the woman could actually relax or something like that. So if some, I don't know, creature or animal was going to jump, the man would actually be ready. Because we still are simple human creatures, and it's actually going to take hundreds or maybe thousands of years with this society and what we live in and how messed up we're getting, that our cells will probably change. Whether for the good, hard to know. You know, I believe that our brains actually are still evolving, and there's so much science to support things like this, that we are going to get to a plateau where we're just going to have more and more brain power, more and more, and be so much smarter and everything on any level, and probably, you know, maybe ascend to a higher plane of existence, you know, and transcend out of this vessel and be a thing of energy. That's it, you know. So whether that's all true and we are here just for a purpose for whatever it is now, that's great. So, you know, this could go on forever, and I've got so many other topics to talk about, but the idea behind all this is just to get knowledge across to you guys that, you know, this world we live in is full on in every single way, and you are thinking said to be and act a certain way, and you're governed by all these rules and regulations, and it's just getting out of control, and you tend to just go along with it, and you have all these little thoughts in your head. I'm sick of this, sick of that, sick of someone, the way someone says this, wrote that, looked at this, did that, you know, whatever it is, just the cycle goes on. And psychologically, it is building up on you in the back of your mind. It might not come to the front now, but eventually it'll all come forward in some shape or form, whatever it is, however little, however big, and you'll have a big impact. And people, this is the one I want to get across with antidepressants, with brain chemistry. This is pretty full on. Okay, so you've got so many different types of neurotransmitters in your head. You've got brain stems and the neurons like at the top of them. You've got like 100 billion of them all in your head. You know, the brain's full on. And at the bottom you've got like all your receptor sites and stuff. So, you know, antidepressants and that are designed to target certain receptor sites at the bottom of the brainstem. I use the brainstem as like the tree, and the neurons are at the top, and the neurons connect to another neuron to send a signal to the other brainstem. You know, things like that, where there's more cortisol more receptor sites linked. So things like that. So there are signals constantly flying all the time, but antidepressants, you know, some are good, some are great, but do they actually target the right area? You talk to someone, maybe that's a nutritionist, naturopath, or nutritional in medicine, you know, which is a course like $30,000, you know, and they can tell you that, you know, there is enough stuff in medicine to get you there. Sometimes you might need some man-made amino acids of certain types to actually target certain brain functions, which does help. So you can do it, but it has to be done very strategically. If it's not done right, yeah, you can crash and burn. And this is the thing, no one wants to actually go and do it the right way. Everyone's just looking for the shortcut. I tell you what, antidepressants are not the way to go. Maybe for some people they are, but ultimately when you break it down, it's brain chemistry. And if the body's actually functioning fine, it's usually the brain then. You know, so it's things like that. Like I always get tests done to find out what's going on with me on many levels, because I just enjoy it. I love knowing the knowledge and learning more and more, being able to give it to you. Because like even I've been and seen some people about, I have high cortisol stuff with everything I do on that, and you know, I got that many tests done. It was ridiculous because I wanted to know everything that was going on, amino acids, you know, vitamins, minerals, you know, antibodies and bacteria and what's going on in my body. And you know, they had no idea how to actually cure me with cortisol, how to actually guide me and help me. No idea. So I did it myself, and I've done it myself, and unreal. So every day I feel it's just gone. Just, you know, and it went so quick because I was able to use, you know, things like vitamin C, magnesium, phosphatidylserine, ashwagandha, ginseng, you know, chlorella, spirulina, barley grass, all things green and all things to help that from plants to support and to do different things that target certain areas. And they all play a key role in helping to stabilize and reset things and give them health, essentially, because we are from food and plants and all that stuff that we live off, and biochemically that goes way too much into it, but it reacts on a level that you'll never even understand unless you do the science of it, that helps to absorb and uptake and gives you that life of that cell of whatever it is to give you health. So yeah, so this is James from Jim's Health, Nutrition and Fitness. Educate, Dominate. We're doing 100 days of summer at the moment. It's pretty insane, pretty full on. I've got a lot of work to do ahead of me, but it's going to be good fun. Sorry this video was really long. Yeah, and all the best, and smile, be happy, and life is a journey. Enjoy and just try and live in the here and the now, not scattered all over the place, looking through these eyes, out and smiling. Cheers.